what's crazy, Justine?
What, Jordan?
We're on episode 2 of the podcast!
Episode 2, talking shit.
Welcome back. And this episode is going to be awesome, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to
we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Stuff that happened this week.
A little behind the scenes type, too.
Type. Now I got you saying it.
No. Go ahead. I mean, you said you had some stuff to talk about during this week?
Yeah, I think we started off by talking about how far we came so far in the channel. Like, we started our campaign story. We started Hitman 3. That's been pretty fun. We got a lot of, you guys can check that on the channel right now. We got, 2 episodes out right now? And we got, double episodes coming up soon.
Yeah, double episodes this week.
Yeah.
A lot on the way for Hitman. As well as some... So, there's a hidden storyline in Fight Night.
I finally won. I finally won a Fight Night match.
They haven't seen it yet.
Oh.
Spoilers.
I mean, I didn't win.
Yeah.
I lost again.
That's more believable, huh?
All right.
I'm playing. A hidden storyline of Fight Night is starting to bloom, and in solo series, all I can say about it is technical difficulties. Actually, while we're on the topic of that, I want to say a little bit about that, just because solo series in my head when I pictured it was I was gonna win every game, and it's not the fact that it's harder to play, and that actually makes it more fun. I don't think it would be a fun series to watch if there wasn't adversity and if I didn't lose some games. But I was thinking about it, and the best case scenario is say you win 9 games in a row, which is what you can win, and then the Super Bowl as well. That's, if I uploaded 1 game a week, that's 9 weeks, and I think that it would be better if I compiled a few games, a few moments into 1 episode. So, no solo series for Madden in this week, obviously, but we're going to be back with something a little bit more crafty, I think. I think something a little bit easier to watch, too.
Right. And I think that's cool because I wanted to do that for the Warzone series, too, where instead of, just people sitting down and watching me play start to finish, they only get, the highlight moments. I'm not really there yet when it comes to editing, so far I've just been doing, full game clips. But hopefully if you guys checked out the last one, you guys would see I did a little bit more when it came to editing, adding funny sound effects and music in the background and stuff like that. So I'm little steps, but I feel like that Warzone episode was way better than the last one where I was just talking like this, yo, what's going on? So I try to be more hype, It's not, it might not sound genuine, but it's you can hear me better. And I'm commenting on more things that happen in the game. That's
one thing that I love to see, even so far, is how I've progressed in talking when I know somebody is listening or when I know somebody will be listening.
Right.
I love the evolution of that for me so far.
Yeah. And
even what you're talking about with the editing, not there yet. We're both starting to get into it. Starting to realize how to do things a little bit more. Things are a little bit easier, so we're starting to make more advanced steps, which is what growth is. If you're always reaching.
Yeah. It's been tough because I never took a public speaking class or anything like that, so this has been big practice for me for just talking out loud and pronunciating my words a little bit more, talking to an audience, even though it's not a big one, it's still an audience of some types. Some sort. But, yeah. So it's been fun. Learning experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a kind of a nice segue into what I wanted to talk about. From your perspective so far, what is some of the hardest things? Because editing in itself is difficult, but the actuality, the concrete things that you actually do aren't that hard. Just the idea of it is pretty hard. But what are some things that you've noticed so far in week 3, I believe? In week 3, what are some things either that surprised you or that you expected were going to be hard and were hard?
I mean, to be honest, the hardest thing personally so far is actually the podcast itself. Because, like, even though we talk for hours and hours, like, when we go out to eat, when we hang out, it's something different about, like, when you have to sit down and record it. It's like, now you gotta, like, think of stuff to talk about. It's
Yeah.
like, it's not really as, like, different as when we're just sitting down, we have normal conversation. It's like
Yeah.
now we're doing it for people. So I just want to hopefully get into that flow where it seems more like a normal convo that we'll like normally have on
Yeah.
a regular. But other than that, I guess editing like the big stuff like Hitman and stuff. The first two episodes when it came to editing, it was pretty tough. Like cutting up like the good moments and the funny moments
Yeah.
and the parts that people like to watch. So yeah, that's been really tough. That's been like the toughest for me so far. But I think over time it gets easier and easier. And that's about it. Everything else it feels like light work, like Fight Night and the solo series that I do. It's pretty easy for me. So
Mhm.
yeah, and then every once in a while, trying to get some schoolwork in there.
For me, some like deceptively some things that I didn't expect were going to be hard was first of all the naming of everything, like coming up with all the names, which and that's no secret to anybody.
Yeah.
Is finding a name for something, like figuring out what you want to be like identified as and like looked at as.
Right.
And that's we bounced a few names off each other for a little bit,
Yeah.
but that was one of the hardest parts to me.
Rest in peace, Dorm Talks.
Rest in peace, Dorm Talks. Welcome to Talking Ship.
Yeah, this is Talking Ship.
Yeah. But, and then the biggest thing for me that I've found is the scheduling of all of it. When you write it down on paper and you look at the numbers and you say, this series takes this many minutes to record, and you can find that many minutes on a random weekday or some weekend night. You can find time for it. There's other little nuances that come up, and whether it's like a friend asked you to hang out, or whether it's you're hungry, you have to go out to eat, whether it's a last minute assignment that you forgot. I feel like life has a way of doing that on purpose.
Right.
Life has a way of making you pick a priority.
Yeah.
And so scheduling it and finding out what is going to stick. Obviously, we had a nice full week of uploads, and that felt good to get out. But I think that was a super idealistic case, and I think going forward, because we haven't found it yet. As put together as that last week might have been in terms of like when content was coming out, that's good. But I think we're still tweaking it, and I think in terms of content creation, I think it's ever evolving.
Yeah. I always think that like I might heard myself saying like double uploads for Hitman, because now I gotta do twice as much work when it comes to editing and putting out videos. But you always gotta look as like, oh man, will people like watch 2 episodes a week, or would they just like want to watch the whole thing as fast as possible? So it's been tough trying to find that balance of like what people will want and like what we'll have time available to do.
Yeah,
because
we do live, and as far as the channel in college and all that stuff goes, we have a similar life.
Yeah.
But we do live pretty different lives in terms of like the little things that come up.
Yeah. Jordan's way more busier than I am when it comes to the day.
So in terms of like finding a time to do all this stuff, sometimes schedules don't line up, and then you could miss one period of recording or one period of editing. If you put it off and say I'm going to do it later, it piles up and makes it feel like it's 2 times as much work. Like all of a sudden it's like so much, and
then it's like now you're working extra hard, and then it feels to the point where it's like you might as well just like give it all up.
Right.
But
and I think to an outside eye and to somebody who's like not in it as much as we are, you may be like, oh wow, they really uploaded 1 week
and gave up.
Well, that's the thing is you think oh, they gave up, it's they found out why it was too hard, they found out why it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But on our side, it's been 100% for one of us, well, sometime in the week. So it's been as full time as it can be.
Right.
Right. And I think it's about finding what works still.
Yeah.
So instead of like trying to formulate our lives around it, we're formulating it around our lives.
Yeah.
Instead of tuning our schedules to it, we're trying to make it fit in ours to make it more comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think honestly more fun then.
Yeah. Where it's like, got this extra thing you can do when you have the free time, instead of it being like, oh man, we gotta get this done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That brings me to a point though, is like, how do you balance your extracurriculars with your education, with your socials, with your sleep? How do you balance that so far?
I can't really say I do balance it. It's always all over the place, but like school this year, I always try to compared to first semester, I did not do the best, but now I'm always like trying to find a way or some time to get my assignments done. And it's like, it's not 100% like, oh man, I'm doing it at this time and like getting all my work done. It's like I still get my work done, but like not at the times where I should, or like not when I should be doing it. And then like extracurricular activities, like I don't really have much except for going out, hanging out, with you or all our other friends and getting something to eat. So
yeah,
I usually see myself having a lot of free time to end the day, and that's why this channel stuff was pretty cool, because it was like, yeah, I have time to work on this. I can sit down, edit this, have it's like a job.
Yeah.
It's an internship because we're not getting paid yet, but it's still it's like a little something extra to do with my hands when I have the free time, because I recently had a lot of free time on my hands, so
that's kind of a way to fill in those like gray areas on your schedule.
Yep. But what about you?
I got you. I have always lived my life with a structure, and some people think that's the only way to go, and whereas some people think that you can't live a life with structure because there's too many things that pop up.
Yeah.
And granted, they do.
Too many different variables that
right.
just come out of nowhere.
But I feel like my biggest success was planning for those unpredictable variables, and like it's putting down the stuff through a week that I know I have to do, and then when those unplanned variables come up, you can throw them in the times that you have free, because now you know what times you have free. So I've first semester of college I wasn't very good at it, but this semester I've been a lot better, and this comes from even some seminars I have from working in sales. They talk a lot about making a plan and having a plan and like making a structure for yourself. So that's something that I found was so incredibly huge this semester, was making a plan. And I have one of those. So with my stuff, it's like school super early in the day, try to be done with school by 2:00 at the latest. Get the school out of the way first, because I think while I'm at college, I definitely want that to be my priority. So school happens first in the morning, breakfast, then school. And then comes the extracurricular. So when I have time in the middle of the day, I like to get in the gym too a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I like to push the weights a little bit. Yeah. So that takes, health is a big priority to me too. So those are, two things already that take up quite a bit of the day that you want to incorporate. And then not to mention having meaningful relationships that you need and want to put time and effort into is so super important to me. And significant other, yes, but friendships as well, and other types of relationships. So it's really a nice. It keeps your day full.
Yeah.
It keeps your day full. And at times I do feel bad, because sometimes there are different priority lists.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Different times you have like different priority, and
and the biggest thing about that is that they don't line up with my business partner here, Mr. Jassim. So that is, going back to the biggest struggle so far. That has been it. Is how we live. We're very similar. We love movies. We love games. We love like sports and athletics and just hanging around. But the difference is the scheduling and stuff. So that is probably my biggest thing that I wasn't seeing.
Yeah. And I mean, our goal right now is to like rework the schedule. We don't want to give any of this up in any way.
No, not even a little bit.
So
because that's gonna bring me to the why. I was gonna talk about like why we're doing this.
Yeah.
So why do you feel like? What's your reason to stick with it?
Well, for starters, I never really stuck to anything. So, I would love to like hold on to this and work on this as much as I can. It's like something to do with one of my good friends in college. We got this channel thing, so it keeps us pretty close, and we can hang out, play video games all the time. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. And just the whole YouTube thing. I always watch YouTube, so like finally getting to like create on my own is like pretty cool. And I think just seeing our YouTube videos up there, just being, because every once in a while, even at night, I'll just like go back to our channel and watch the video that like we made, and then be like, yo, I did that. Yeah, that's we're not like the top quality YouTubers that we watch all the time, but it's like just cool to look at it and be like, hey, we're doing something that we watch other people do. Yeah, and just something about creating content is pretty sick. So, yeah. And I just think about it. I look into it. I'm like, I feel like if we stay on top of this could blow up.
Yeah, there's always that possibility, like sitting in the back of your head. Like if you put in the effort now, what could it be?
Exactly. So
that's a huge thing that I feel like with my why, it comes down to. It's like there's two sides of it, right? There's the business side of it, and then there's the like fun creator side of it.
Right.
And so right now my priority is in the like fun creating side of it. Like I have always wanted to do the same thing. I've always watched it on YouTube and I've always wanted to do it.
Right.
So having that, and even I was like nodding in agreement with when Jassim was saying he was going back and watching some of the videos. Now, whether it was just to be like, yes, I put that up, or whether it's to be like, how can we make this a little bit better? Like just fine tuning. Yeah. I definitely find myself sometimes watching the fight nights and how competitive it is now more than ever. And definitely the Hitman storyline. I watched those two a couple times. One to see the quality of the video, but the other was because I'm interested in Hitman. I played like the demos for the first two games and I could never get into it, but now I'm like sitting down, like making myself into it. Like I dressed like Agent 47 for my junior prom. Like so, like being the Hitman story is like it's like a good story, and now I have a content creator that I can support.
To support watching. But and there was a lot of like funny and interesting moments in the Hitman series that I like go back and laugh again at. Like the whole knife thing, I always think it's funny and it's like hilarious, and the big escape and all that. It's like every time we play there's something interesting going on or like some crazy storyline. Yeah. Just like putting that into YouTube is pretty cool.
The behind the scenes with the knife thing is funny because in the Hitman video he's like, oh, I'm gonna have you hit these targets here and that's gonna decide. And so me being a Madden player and far from anywhere a good like shooter player, I hand the sticks over to Jassim. I was like, I'm not gonna embarrass myself with my aim on this channel. I didn't know there was like an there's like aim assist. I didn't know that it was gonna give him a circle around his head. But that was funny. I handed the remote over and Jassim was like, what, kill the targets? Oh, okay.
Okay. Like nothing really clicked in my mind that he wants me to throw the knife at these moving boxes.
Yeah, and I think that's so funny, and having that like dynamic between us, it's like. And as you saw in the last part of the Hitman thing, Jassim, he like killed the guy with the guns and he ran out in some epic fashion. I feel like it's so interesting to have me and Jassim be so similar. but then there's like the differences that you can notice, and you know, they're a catalyst to those like funny or interesting moments. So
Yeah.
I always am in awe at that, how similar we are, but how different it makes it.
How it goes from like your stealth, and then goes off with like my big action shooting.
Yeah.
At the end is like, it's pretty sick.
Quiet, clumsy, trying to get noticed gameplay from me, and then all of a sudden Jassim comes in and kills everybody.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
My why is also kind of like separating just playing video games to do something with it, because on summer days I've always been a gamer, like always. And gamer, I mean Madden, yes. Don't worry. I played other games here and there, but it's been mostly Madden.
Right.
But it's like, the summer days, sometimes a day would go by and maybe I don't like leave my bedroom until 4, and that is unfortunate. And to me, I feel like, and I know it's not similar, but to me, not similar between me and you, but maybe not a shared opinion.
Right.
But sometimes I feel like I wasted that day. And so with this, yes, you play the video games, but
Now it's going towards something.
right, it's not video game for 4 hours. It's video games 20 minutes. Get the like gameplay side that we need, and then like work on making it viewable.
Yep.
So yeah,
Because we're not like playing UFC for fun anymore. Now we just play a couple rounds.
Well, it's still fun.
It's still fun, but like when it comes to most of it, we play a couple rounds and we stop, and then we go and we edit, and then we're like, we'll see you next time for when we record this and that. Because I feel the same way. Whenever I sit down and like, I don't know if it's like now that I'm older or something, but now that I sit down and like play video games or watch TV, I just have this feeling of like, man, I should be like doing something right now.
Right.
This isn't really like, but now that it goes towards something creative, it's like, it's pretty cool.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's no more other whys that I could really think of. Not the whys, but like the hardships and stuff like that. Sometimes for me, it's not even like the channel stuff. Sometimes for me, it's just like little personal things, because just the whole thing about being on my own has always been tough. It's like, I don't know if it's because I haven't been on my own in ever, but just the whole thing of just like forcing myself to get out of bed every day, or like making sure I eat at this and this time, make sure I take my medication, everything. Like, all of that, it's just been tough, and it's like little easy stuff that people like just know how to do in their everyday lives, but for some reason, like, I'm still figuring that part out. So to balance just like the little personal building blocks and the channel stuff has been pretty tough.
Yeah.
That's all I say. It's been pretty tough. I forgot to mention that. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think as a freshman in college, everybody has like a similar standpoint, but some people may have more experience with it than others.
Yeah.
And
Some
now I don't
people are,
really
like, more mature.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting. Maturity having a role. I mean, it's interesting that maturity has a role in like surviving. Because you have to eat. That's survival.
Yeah.
But are you gonna eat at a time convenient, or are you gonna eat at some
Just
crazy
whenever,
whenever? And what are you gonna eat?
Exactly.
I've struggled with that my entire life. So not now not having an adult to tell me to eat my greens is like, am I really gonna get Brussels sprouts? No.
Burger every day, might as well. Fries, yup.
You got French fries too?
Yup.
But that's part of college though. That's part of like the overall like challenge of college is that the food is convenient, but it lacks
the overall challenge of college is the food.
All right.
But yeah, just I always felt like I was an immature person, so just trying to get to that mature side or bring that side out has been pretty tough, and what I've been working on. And the channel kind of helps with that. Like, feeling like I'm working on something and doing something like a mini job. Even though I don't have a current job, which I should be looking for right now, it's it's in a way like work.
What you said, the internship,
Yeah,
earlier, right?
it's an internship, so it feels kind of mature in some way to be working on something. So
Having a project, sure,
yep, yep.
And I come from kind of a different standpoint. I've always viewed myself as mature, so like, even from middle school,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I could pick out my own outfits, I did. And as soon as I could pack out my own lunch, I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always kind of felt like I was ready to take that next step. So living on my own, not something that I was able to practice,
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? But something I was like prepared for mentally.
Yeah.
So, even in high school, junior senior year, with my dad working a couple of jobs. So you don't really see him. He's not around to tell you to do your laundry.
Yeah.
If you got dirty clothes for school the next day, that's on you.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of learned the little like daily house chores like dishes, laundry, cleaning up the room. I've kind of like been doing those,
Right.
and not to like say that like, oh, that makes me mature.
Yeah.
I think maturity is a whole like more intricate kind of concept, but just to have already been doing that. And that's the thing is, why I even brought up this point is that I still don't feel like I'm, quote, mature yet. I feel like it's a progressing thing. Mm-hmm. So I feel like my dad always told me you never are perfect at parking. You're always, getting better at parking like your car.
Oh, yeah.
Like in whatever spots. And I feel like that's the same thing with maturity is you're never going to be mature. You're always maturing.
Right.
And I like that standpoint. So it's like, even though I can tell myself to sit down and do schoolwork, I can tell myself I have to eat at this time. I have to, what I should eat at this time, when I should be doing my laundry, when I should be doing this and this.
Yeah.
I feel like there's still another step that I need to hit on before I'm mature. And I feel like that's good, and I feel like it's always going to be like that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm comfortable saying that I'm always maturing, and I'm not mature yet.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable saying that.
Always maturing. Something to take out of that.
Yeah.
I never really thought of.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. Then another thing is, we kind of spoke on it earlier, but always trying to add on stuff onto like your goals.
Yeah.
Because it's like now I want to go to the gym more often because now I'm in college. I got the chance to do that. It's like now I want to eat healthier because now I have the choices to do that. It's like now I want to make sure like my schoolwork all A's is because now I got the chance to do that. It's like now I want to do channel stuff, and it's like you're always trying to put on more stuff on you to like better yourself.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point where it's like, all right, if you try to add on too much stuff, you're not going to stick to any of them.
Spreading yourself too thin.
It's spreading yourself too thin.
Somebody made that analogy earlier this week, and I loved it.
Just use it everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's super applicable.
Yeah.
And I understand that to a tremendous amount, even with the channel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Taking on, initially we had the plan of just, the weekly like talks every now and then. No, the weekly talks and then fight night.
I'll take the blame for that one though. I was super ambitious when it came to the channel stuff. I was like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was either my mature side or if that was my like busy side or my hesitant side or the side that cherishes like the me time.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I just want to be cautious with how much we take on. But honestly, it sounded like a good idea at all the times, and it still is. It's still. I want to find a way to do it because there's enough time. People say they don't have time nowadays, but we have more time than ever, honestly, during a pandemic.
Always got time.
So, I would say, if anything, I would thank you for that because ambition, I think you need that. You need ambition.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it is kind of nice to make sure we're not biting off more than we can chew.
Exactly. There's always a difference between ambition and being naive and
not understanding what it costs.
Yeah, where you're taking away when you try to add on to something.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, Want to call it? I think that's it for episode 2 Talking Shit. Let people know about our channel so far. How far
The daily channel.
Yeah.
One thing I was gonna mention during the like working on how natural it sounds when we were talking about that earlier, I was gonna even drop a blooper, but I didn't want to interrupt you. I was gonna drop a blooper about we had that idea that we wanted to like sit down with food and like have food here, and so the conversation happened.
So the whole time.
I think that's why it got shut down.
Yeah.
I think that's why you said maybe not.
Because the people would just hear us eating.
Mukbang.
Yeah.
Nah, but that's just to like try to any way that we can extract that natural
Yeah.
like casual, just like
Just
fun.
get
Having
Tyler to secretly record us. Be like, yo, Tyler, secretly record us during the week in
Honestly,
one of our
yeah.
combos. But
Something like that. That's just a little behind the scenes thing that we were thinking about in making all of it. But yeah, I think
I'm getting outside help from others. Whoever tunes in, giving us ideas is
Oh
always cool.
yeah, absolutely. Right now, people know us personally,
Right.
so feel free. Anybody listening to this,
Hey
send,
mom.
Hey mom, send ideas, please. That would help so much. We'll definitely give our little insights about it and see how far we can dive into it.
Yeah.
I always like taking a more analytical look, and sometimes it's not necessary, but I always love to do it
Right.
at whatever topic. So definitely reach out to us if you have something. But other than that, I think that's good.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in for episode 2 of the Talking Ship. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you guys are listening on Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever, leave 5 stars. Appreciate it. And we will catch you guys later.
Peace.